Individuals have personal feelings, preferences, fears, attitudes, beliefs, and opinions, which tend to build barriers in the mind of the listener, making him or her an ineffective listener. These barriers are better known as psychological barriers. The psychological barriers that will be discussed are egocentrism, ethnocentrism, conflicting information, poor retention, and emotions. First, an egocentric listener has a self-centered attitude where they often interrupt or stop the speaker from talking, as they tend to judge what the speaker is saying before listening to the whole message delivered. They are often impatient to wait until the person finishes delivering the message. This tendency is called premature evaluation. Furthermore, egocentric listeners have an overall critical attitude where they often divert their attention from what the speaker is saying to pointing out errors and faults in the speaker's appearance, delivery, grammar, and accent. Second, no matter what a group person belongs to, his or her values and opinions are influenced to some extent by that group. Nevertheless, some people tend to oppose any opinion or idea that conflicts with their group values and interests, which makes it challenging for a speaker from another group to make the listener understand how they feel and think. This barrier is called ethnocentrism. Third, conflicting information occurs when the listener receives information from the speaker that is conflicting with what already he or she knows. The listener might start to ponder during the conversation about the validity of the information of what he or she already originally knew. Another approach of the listener would be interrupting the speaker and start raising questions or even verbally denying the validity of the speaker's information. The listener will refuse to believe what the speaker is saying unless the speaker's information is more logical than what the listener already knows. Fourth, the brain memory capacity to save information and the way it is stored in one's memory is called the retention of memory. Certainly, only the information that the person believes it will be useful for later will be remembered by him or her. When a listener is hearing a message that is overloaded with information, the person tends to forget most of it in a matter of minutes, often causing the information to be valid or distorted due to poor retention of memory. Furthermore, delivering a long message over the phone would definitely shift the listener's focus from the message, as nonverbal communication such as body gestures and eye contact is missing. Thus, it is important to choose the right communication channel to communicate a certain topic. Fifth, flow of communication can be either smoothened or hindered by the listener's positive or negative emotions. Furthermore, being overwhelmed with emotions can cause the listener to divert their focus from the conversation and start wondering about the overwhelming experience they had. Thus, the person will not give an appropriate feedback or would simply agree with whatever is being said by the speaker in order not to seem ignorant. Furthermore, when there is a lack of trust between both parties, both will aim to generate a negative meaning from the message that is communicated while ignoring the gist of the message. This can cause a severe psychological listening barrier. After going through the psychological barriers, the strength of your attention span barrier will be tested by this activity. Basically, you will watch a movie scene and then you have 5 seconds to raise your hand, identify the barrier in the scene, and provide justification to your answer. Are you ready, rookies? Let's find out!
Created using Powtoon.